Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Your boy Dean here. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. I'm right here to help all of you folks out with job search tips and advice, interview tips and advice, resume tips and advice. Got my little sports jacket on today, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to help you folks out with your job search, right? So, hey, don't be shy, folks. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. Shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Shout out to everyone tuning in on Twitter as well. I know Periscope is being phased out. But if you are watching on Periscope, hey, shout out to people on my people on Periscope as well. We got Nick in the house. Nick, good morning to you as well, sir. Good to have you here. Always good to have you here tuning in. Again, feel free to introduce yourself in the comments, folks. For those of you tuning in for the first time, you're one of my new connections. You started following me recently. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Great to have you in my network and look forward to networking with you moving forward. And hope you get a lot of value out of being connected with me and following my stuff and following my job search content. So I'm going to be sharing tips, advice, and strategies, as long as you choose to follow me and watch my stuff here that are, 100% job search related based on my experiences working in recruitment from the perspective of a recruiter, but also more importantly, from the perspective of someone who has been in your shoes as a job seeker as well. We got my friend Mohammed in the house. Mohammed, good morning to you, sir. Good to have you here. And congrats on your certification. I saw that post on LinkedIn. Good to have you here. And thanks so much for tuning in. So today's thing, folks, and by the way, hit me up with a like and make sure you reshare with your network as well, folks. Today's topic, very important topic, right, today that I'm going to be speaking about is we're going to be focused on interviews today, right, and a specific situation you might find yourself in during your interviews, right, as a job seeker, and that is the interviewer, the hiring manager, whoever it is that you're meeting with, they ask you about something and you don't have direct or specific experience with whatever this area is that they're asking about. How do you handle that situation? How do you turn it into a selling opportunity? How do you deal with this situation most effectively? I'm going to be covering that today. A couple of more shout outs here. We got Elham in the house. Elham, always good to have you here. Hope you're doing great and fantastic. And while I'm discussing the topic, folks, don't feel shy. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on how you usually handle this situation. Let me know your questions in the comments as well. I'm going to respond to your questions as we go through with the topic, and hope to have all of you folks leaving here with more information about how you can handle this situation moving forward. All right. So let me just make sure everything is set at this end. Yeah, it looks like all is good on LinkedIn as well. So today's topic, and again, be prepared to take notes, folks. This is probably something you want to take notes on, right? Now, what's the situation I'm speaking about here, right? Like, and what exactly is Dean talking about today? Well, here's a common situation, a common scenario I've heard about from so many job seekers. And again, having worked in recruitment over many years, and currently making the transition into job search coaching, this is another situation, another scenario I hear about from so many job seekers, right? And that is, and they basically job seekers, they ask me, hey, Dean, so here's the situation. I went in for an interview, or I'm going in for an interview. What happens if I don't know what exactly, they ask me about something I don't have direct experience with. So basically what's happening here is, folks, is right. And especially if all's going well at the interview, everything's fine. You got the rapport thing going, you like the interviewer likes you. You feel like it's a great company. You're excited about the opportunity. Everything's going spick and span, great, perfect almost. And then right? Then, insert dramatic music at this point if I had like if I had that kind of a crew in place. But then the interviewer asks you about something. Maybe it's a specific piece of experience, right? Something, right? Maybe it's a programming language, a tool, a technology, a framework, a methodology, a task, a function, something that they're looking for in an ideal candidate. They suddenly ask you about this thing that they want in an ideal candidate, but you at your end do not have direct experience with this area, right? Let's call it XYZ, right? And XYZ could represent anything. And this is the situation, right? You don't have experience with XYZ or knowledge with XYZ, and most of you watching this probably admit as such, right? And most of you watching probably don't try to wing it. You probably not you're trying to misrepresent yourself. You're not fabricating things. You're not making up stuff, because that could really backfire, folks. And then what happens is, all right, the interview goes, moves forward, everything, and whatever the next steps in the process are. Now, before I get into how to handle this, I want to let you know, just because you leave it as it is and say, no, I don't have experience with this, it's not a deal breaker, folks, right? I'm not gonna be dramatic and exaggerate and say, yeah, if you don't handle this correctly, you're gonna mess up your chances. No, it is possible for you to simply say, I don't have experience with XYZ, leave it at that, and you can still go on to do fairly well in the interview process, right? But what I'm saying here is, what I wanted to advocate for in this session is, I want you to take it a step up, right? I want you to take it a notch up, and use this as an opportunity for you to further sell yourself as a viable candidate for the role, and show why you're still a very viable candidate for the role and an attractive potential candidate for the position, given your skills, your experience, and all that good stuff, right? And this is a piece of advice I've been giving to I've given to candidates myself when I was a recruiter representing candidates for my clients. And I used to do this as part of my interview prep, right? And when I used to prep candidates for interviews that I used to represent, I always suggest, first and foremost, if you don't have experience with something, folks, and I wanted to clear this up before we move any further, if you do not have experience with something and they're asking you about that something, be honest about it. You do not want to misrepresent yourself. You don't want to fabricate that, yeah, I do have experience with this, and then they probe a little deeper, and then you're just going to look dumb, right? You're going to put yourself in a bad situation. It's going to put your entire credibility into question. So be transparent. I'm not saying, say that you have experience you don't have. Not what I'm saying here. So you want to be transparent about the fact that you do not have experience about that specific area. What I advise against, however, all right, and this is going to be the point of this particular section. What I advise against is simply leaving your response at, no, sorry, I don't have that experience, and then leave it at that, right? So what I want to convince all of you folks of today is, we need to go beyond that, right? We definitely want to admit, yeah, I don't have experience with this area, but your task in this scenario, folks, right? When this happens, when you are presented with an interview question, you don't have experience with whatever it is, right? Whatever XYZ could be. Again, task, function, tool, technology, methodology, some kind of experience, right? Your task in this scenario is to show why, despite, right? And this is key. If you're taking notes, you want to write this down. You want to show in this scenario why, despite not having that experience that they're asking about, right? Again, represented by XYZ. XYZ could be anything. Why, despite you not having experience with XYZ, you're still a very viable candidate that they should consider for the opportunity, right? That's the whole point of this. This is why I want you folks to take it up a notch, and don't just leave it at, no, sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Hiring Manager, or no, sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, I don't have experience with this area, unfortunately. So you only got one half of that correct, right? So what we're going to be doing is, we're going to show why, despite you not having that experience, you're still a very viable candidate. Now, how do you handle this situation? How do you tackle this scenario? So there's two possible things, scenarios that I always advise. Again, going back to when I was in recruitment, something I used to advise candidates that I was representing is, after you let them know that, I don't have experience with XYZ, what you want to do is, you want to get into two possible scenarios, right? Now, scenario one is, right, and this could be one of two scenarios, and you definitely want to be taking notes here. But scenario one is, you don't have experience with XYZ. However, you do have experience with something similar to XYZ. Let's call this ABC, right? Whatever that is, which in all regards is pretty similar, or maybe extremely similar to XYZ. And due to these similarities between XYZ, which is what you don't have experience with, and ABC, which is something you do have experience with, given the similarities, which you need to bring up and explain, by the way, it will be very easy for you to pick up on XYZ without much of a ramp up period or a minimal ramp up period for you to pick up on what the company is using. All right. So an example of this might be, let's say the interviewer says, "Hey, Dean, so can you tell us about your experience with XYZ?" And again, XYZ could represent anything, folks. I'm just giving you a quick example here, so bear with me. So the interviewer asks me, "Dean, so tell us about your experience with XYZ. Do you have experience with XYZ?" So my response could be, "Well, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, I don't have any direct experience with XYZ. However, I do have experience with ABC, which is a very similar tool, and the similarities are, such and such and such. And in fact, I used to use ABC at company, ABC, which is my previous employer. And this was a project we worked on, and this is what we accomplished using ABC. And given the similarities and given the fact that we were able to achieve similar results, I'm pretty sure and I'm very confident that I can, although I don't have direct experience, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, with XYZ, given the similarities with ABC and given the fact that I'm well-versed, extremely knowledgeable with ABC, I'm confident that I can deliver on XYZ at your company. I might need a bit of a ramp-up period, but again, given the similarities, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, it's going to be very simple for me to pick up on this and get things done at your company using XYZ. So that's scenario A, right? You have something, you don't have the direct experience with what they're asking, but you have knowledge, you have experience with something that is very similar. Now, just kind of a caveat to this, folks. Obviously, you have to be well-versed, very knowledgeable about your industry to be aware of something you have experience with that is similar, right? And you should be able to have enough knowledge to be able to kind of make a comparison there and show the similarities between what it is they're asking about and the experience that you bring to the table and that you have experience with, right? So we got some more questions here. We got so Ilya says, "I always say that there is always room to learn more, and I'm up for a challenge, which is not the best but honest." Hey, you know what, Ilya? That's actually, and hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly, my friend. Let me know in the comments if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But yeah, I think that's a great attitude, Ilya, right? I definitely agree with you, right? So Ilya is saying, hey, what I let the interviewer know is there's always something new to learn. There's always an opportunity for learning new things, and I'm up for the challenge. Hey, you know what, Ilya? I think that's a great attitude, and I think that using that and tie this in with the strategy I'm talking about today, Ilya, you're gonna be a stone cold killer, right? So I hope this helps, and thanks for tuning in, Ilya. So Nick says, how do you handle a hostile interviewer who is on the attack with questions, usually because there is someone else in the interview and politics might be at play? Yeah, so this is a great question, Nick, right? And by the way, I'm not laughing because it's a funny situation. Like I know it's frustrating, right? And so basically what Nick is saying, hey, Dean, so check this out. How about I'm in a situation where, I'm at an interview and this interviewer seems hostile, right? They're just attacking me with questions because there's someone else at the interview and politics might be in play. Now, the best thing, now this situation, unfortunately, folks, this can happen and this can occur right at your interviews where not all your interviews are going to be nice and rosy, right? It's not always going to be pleasant. So Nick, there's a couple of ways you can handle this, but at a very high level, what I would suggest, Nick, and this is not the kind of response you're kind of looking for, but what I usually find, Nick, is as much as possible, you want to put the focus on how you can help them. All right. So yeah, there's going to be politics. Maybe there's going to, they're trying to do the whole chest thumping thing. They want to impress someone at the interview. Maybe their boss is there and they want to show how tough and awesome they are. Whatever the situation is, what I find and the best advice I can give you, Nick, is show how you would be an asset to them, right? So this involves you, and they're going to be like you're saying, Nick. They're going to be barraging you with questions, and they're going to be like kind of hostile, asking you questions and asking you this, asking you that, and you gotta put up with that. You gotta go through with that, Nick, if you decide to. But what I want you to do at your end, Nick, is you want to further probe and investigate and ask your own questions to uncover the core issues, the core problems, and what those major pain points are at the company. And you want to uncover those and you want to put the focus on how you can be an asset by helping them out with those pain points. Now, Nick, I'm not saying this is a foolproof method. Some people out there are just going to be jerks. So I'm not saying this is a 100% effective method, but that would be my suggestion to you, Nick. Uncover their pain points, uncover their challenges, uncover their problems, put the focus on that and position yourself as someone who's going to help them with that. So that way, you're showing the interviewer, not verbally, but you're kind of letting the interviewer know, hey, buddy, like you're being hostile and all this stuff, but check it out. Like I can potentially help you with this situation you got going on. And that should help kind of ease things out and then kind of put things back in focus, Nick, on what's really important, right, to the business, which is, you helping them achieve whatever business outcomes they're looking for, for you to help them achieve ultimately, right? So again, and Nick, and this goes to the rest of you folks out there, this is not foolproof, 100% foolproof advice. Some people out there, again, they're going to be jerks. There's going to be politics. There's going to be hostility. Some people just, they get this sadistic thrill out of this whole hostility thing. I don't know why, because you know what, folks, if you're an interviewer, you're doing this, you're losing out on like great people, like great talent, right? I don't know why you would even do this, but hey, hope that helps, Nick. Great question there. Mohammed says, you can provide some examples from your past to your ability to learn something new quickly. Hey, fantastic advice there, Mohammed. Actually, that is my scenario too. So I'm going to get into that shortly. But yeah, Mohammed, yeah, you kind of jumped the gun there, but absolutely, totally agree with you, and appreciate you sharing that as well. Definitely very, very much a very, very good strategy there. We got my friend David. Hey, David says, looking sharp, Dean. Hey, I appreciate that, David. Thank you so much. And you know what, David? I always see you tune in. I know your profile picture. You got the suit on. You got the tie on. I was like, you know what? I got to look good like David, all right? So I thought I'd put my sports jacket on today. Good to have you here, David, all right? Thanks. Appreciate that compliment there. All right, so moving in, folks, all right? So what did I talk about? Scenario A is you don't have experience with XYZ, which is fine, but you do have experience with something very similar to XYZ, right? And this is something... again, we're going to call this ABC, which is something similar to XYZ. You want to highlight that. You want to put the focus on that. You want to draw the similarities and show them, hey, yeah, I don't have experience with XYZ. But I do have experience with ABC. Given the similarities, it's going to be a very simple, very quick ramp up period for me to get up to speed with XYZ. Given the similarities and given the successful results I've been able to get for the past, for my previous projects, for my previous employers using ABC. All right. So you want to draw that logical comparison and conclusion. Now, scenario B, which my friend Mohammed already kind of mentioned, is scenario B is, okay, they ask you about XYZ. You don't have any experience with XYZ, nor do you have any experience with anything similar, right? So you don't have anything else similar that you do have experience with. So there's no ABC in scenario B, right? Now, all hope is not lost, folks, all right? So a lot of you might be like, oh my God, so what do I do, Dean? Yeah, folks, calm down, right? You gotta kind of take it easy. A lot of you are being a bit too hard on yourself at the interview. You're freaking out and you're panicking, and you're more panicking. You're more panicked about panicking than you are about the actual situation, right? So take a deep breath, calm down. But what you want to do, folks, is, however, you do have experience in the past in being in similar situations, right? Pretty much guaranteed. And let me know in the comments, folks, have you ever worked in a position, worked on a project where you were kind of thrown into things and you had to learn something brand new you had no prior experience with, right? No previous training, no prior training, but you know what? You were thrown into this project. Your boss, your manager, your supervisor was like, okay, here you go. We're throwing you into the fire. Figure it out. These are the results I want. Let me know if you need any help or something like that. How many of you have been in that situation? Feel free to let me know. Share in the comments, folks. So that is what you want to do in scenario B, right? You don't have any similar experience. You don't have experience with XYZ. You don't have that similar experience, but you have been in similar situations where you were put into projects where you were given no training, no support, maybe, right? Maybe no support in some situations, no knowledge of this new area and the boss, the department, the supervisor, the head, whatever it is, they still wanted you to deliver results. So in scenario B, this is the example you want to pick up on, right? You want to show them that although you don't have experience, you have been in similar situations in the past where you were thrown into a project, you had to pick up on something entirely new, you learned it, you implemented it, you successfully achieved the desired end result or business outcome or whatever the outcome was for your previous team, department, manager, supervisor, whatever it is, project or whatever it is, because you were given the opportunity and you rose to the occasion. So you got to give an example of that, right? So in this situation, so let's say I'm going to do a quick, example of this. The interviewer asked me, hey, Dean, so do you have experience with XYZ? And I might say, Mr. and Mr. Interviewer, I don't have experience with XYZ. However, I have been in plenty of situations in the past in my career where I was, thrown into situations and thrown into projects with no prior training, no prior knowledge, and I was able to pick up on things and get right up to speed. A quick example of this, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, is when I was working at company ABC. I was working on such and such project. They wanted me to implement ABC, which is an area I had zero knowledge of. I had no clue on how to do it. But what I did was I did my own research. I even took up some reading. I learned it. I implemented it, and utilizing the other resources on my team, we were able to actually deliver the project successfully. My personal contribution was such and such and such, and we were able to produce the desired results for the project ahead of time, below budget. And I had some great recommendations from my managers in terms of my involvement in the project, and how I was able to help get this done for this particular project. And in a similar fashion, Mr. and Mrs. Interviewer, again, I've been thrown into plenty of situations in the past. I just gave you one example, but I've been thrown into these situations where I had to learn something entirely new, but I was able to step up to the plate, carry my own weight, get the team involved, and produce the desired results. And in a similar fashion, I'm confident that I can achieve the same for your organization. So I don't have experience with XYZ. However, I can give you plenty of examples in the past where I've been in similar situations where I had to pick up on something entirely new and get it done for you. And I'm confident I can do that for you and your company as well for this project. Right. So that's scenario B, folks. All right. So you can see kind of the point here, right? Like, you got to be able to show that why, despite you not having that specific experience that they're looking for, that you're still a viable candidate, right? So you folks get my point now, right? This is why I'm saying, don't just leave it at, no, sorry, I don't have experience with it. All of you folks have so much value and knowledge and expertise, ability, potential you bring to the table. For you to just leave your response at, no, sorry, I don't have that experience, you're doing a disservice to yourself, folks, because you need to show them why, despite you not having that experience, you're still a viable, amazing, fantastic potential candidate in addition to their team, right? So if you're just leaving your response at, no, sorry, I don't have that experience, and then you just wait for the next question, you're underselling yourself. You're selling yourself short, right? So this is why you got to go a step above, take it up a notch, show them why you're still a viable candidate despite that, right? We got... Hey, Edward, good to see you here, my friend. Good to see you. Edward says, good to see you, Dean. Great advice. Thanks so much, Edward. Really appreciate that. Hey, Edward is a fantastic person to follow. So Edward was actually a previous guest on one of my Tech Talk segments, and he spoke about AI, artificial intelligence. Make sure you check out that episode, folks. It's on my YouTube channel. I think it was from a couple of weeks back. But Edward shared some fantastic insights, and it was just such an amazing conversation. He's a great mentor as well. He's heavily involved in the local PMI. I believe it's the Toronto chapter. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Edward. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since we spoke, but very much involved. Awesome, amazing speaker, excellent mentor. Highly recommend you folks follow him as well, and check out that conversation between me and Edward. It's on my YouTube channel. It's from one of the previous Tech Talks segments where Edward spoke about AI, artificial intelligence. Fantastic discussion there. Good to have you here, Edward. Hope you're doing fantastic. Mohammed says, being in IT field, every project has new challenges, new product lines, etc. Yeah. So, amazing example right here, folks. Right. So what Mohammed is saying, and by the way, folks, Mohammed is someone, he's a senior guy. He's been in the game for a while, right? He's saying, hey, Dean, in IT, pretty much every project has new challenges, new product lines, new things that we have not worked on previously, right? So this is yet another example. And thanks for sharing that, Mohammed. Right. A perfect example there. So this is why, folks, you gotta be willing to leverage those experiences in the past where you were thrown into projects, right? And experience, and you don't have to be in IT, by the way, right? I don't care what your field is. Maybe you're in finance, maybe you're in accounting, maybe you're in construction, maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're a scuba diver. It doesn't matter, right? You've probably been thrown into situations where you did not have all the knowledge, expertise, data, and information right up front, but you were thrown into the situation and you made positive of it, right? You produced positive outcomes. You stepped up to the plate. You did what you needed to do to get up to speed on things, and you delivered, right? So you want to demonstrate that in scenario B, right? So look, just kind of a note regarding all this, folks, right? Now whether you do scenario A or scenario B, I'm not saying, folks, I'm not guaranteeing the interviewer is right away going to slap an offer sheet on the table after hearing these expanded responses, right? But what you're doing, and the whole point of this is, you're not simply leaving your response at, no, I don't have that experience. If that's what you're doing, folks, you're selling yourself short. You have a lot more value you bring to the table, and you want to show them that you got to take it a step further and show them why they should still consider you despite you not having XYZ. And you do that by going through scenario A above or scenario B, which I spoke about previously above. And depending on your situation, showing why you're still a great potential candidate for them to consider, right? That's the whole point of this. So again, to kind of quickly refresh this, right? If you're asked at an interview about something you don't have experience with, you're not well versed with it, you're not sure about how strong your knowledge is in this area, you want to be upfront about that. You want to be honest about it. Do not misrepresent yourself. Do not try to wing it. Do not try to pretend like you have experience with this area. It will backfire on you, folks. If not at the interview, if not later on at the interview, when they probe further and they further investigate, it's going to happen after they hire you. They're going to be like, okay, this person obviously clearly does not know what they're doing. Why did they misrepresent themselves at the interview? Now you're just going to end up looking bad, folks, right? So number one is, if you don't have experience with something, be honest about it. Be transparent. Be upfront about it. That's fine, right? Because we're not going to depend just on that. But step two is you got to take it up a notch, right? Take it up a notch. You want to explain either, you got to go with either scenario A or scenario B. Now, scenario A, quick refresher. You don't have experience with XYZ. However, you do have experience with ABC, which in all regards is extremely similar to XYZ. And you want to show those similarities. You want to explain those similarities. And due to these similarities, which you need to bring up and explain again, you need to basically let the hiring team know that's exactly why it will be very easy for you to pick up on XYZ, because you're well versed with ABC, and the ramp up period, which would be minimal, and you would be able to get up to speed and deliver on the project. Now, scenario B is you don't have experience with XYZ and you don't have experience with anything similar to any degree at all. However, you have been put into situations, you have been put into projects where you do have experience, the experience of being in similar situations where you were thrown into projects where you had to pick up on something entirely new, brand new. You learned it, you studied it, you implemented it, you leveraged, maybe some other team members, and you successfully achieved the desired outcome for your previous, project manager, boss, team, department, whatever it is. Because you were given the opportunity and you stepped up to the plate, you rose to the occasion, and you got similar results. And in a similar fashion, you can do the same thing. You can produce the same thing, given the opportunity with this client, with this company, for this project in this situation. All right. So those are the scenarios, folks. And let me know your questions in the comments. Happy to answer any questions you folks have at this point onwards. And hey, by the way, I just wanted to share with you. Hit me up with a like and a share if you found this session helpful. Always appreciate any likes and shares, folks, so I can help other people in your network if they're struggling with this situation in their interviews. Also, another thing, just a heads up, there's a free download on my website, 3 killer questions you need to be asking the interviewer, right? Because the interview is not just about the interviewer asking you all the questions. You need to ask, effective, proactive questions at your end that allows you to understand the project. The more you understand the project, the more you're able to position yourself as a top candidate for the position, right? So you can grab that. It's a PDF download, 3 killer questions you need to be asking the interviewer. You can get it at dkglobaltalent.com. Again, that's dkglobaltalent.com, dkglobaltalent.com. It's a free download. Make sure you check it out, folks, and then grab a copy of that. Also, for those of you who are experiencing you're applying for jobs, you're applying for opportunities, you're not getting responses from hiring teams, you're not getting responses from recruiters, you're wondering what's happening and what's going on, make sure you check out my free masterclass where I describe what's happening, why this is happening, why so many people are not getting responses for their applications or when they're reaching out to hiring managers, hiring teams, and recruiters. So check out my masterclass. It's a 1-hour video, so make sure you set aside the time to watch it. But I explain what exactly is happening. I explained some data from my LinkedIn poll that I conducted recently. I also explained data behind the ATS and why your resume is getting lost amongst the crowd. And also, more importantly, what you can do about it. The 3-step process you need to be implementing in your job search to get more responses from hiring teams. So you can check that out at dkglobaltalent.com/masterclass. Again, free masterclass, folks. Make sure you check it out and take advantage of this. dkglobaltalent.com/masterclass, dkglobaltalent.com/masterclass, dkglobaltalent.com/masterclass. All right. So make sure you check it out, folks. All right. So, and before I get to the questions, folks, remember, mark your calendars. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm live right here. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /Periscope. Again, Periscope I know is being phased out, I think, the end of this month. So it's going to be Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, right? So mark your calendars, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone. Your boy Dean is right here, 11 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone to help you out, sharing job search tips, advice, strategies, practical tips, advice, strategies, pragmatics, tips, advice, and strategies you can apply to your job search, right? So While I'm going through the questions, folks, let me know your questions in the comments. I definitely want to respond to any questions you have about today's topic, or even anything, folks. I'm here to answer anything job search related as well. All right. So anything not related to today's topic that is job search related, feel free to drop it in the comments right now. All right. So let me see. So we got a question from my friend Edward here. So Edward says, Dean, can you say more about soft skills where you were put into those tricky projects? Any special keywords? All right. So Edward, this is a great point, right? I'm glad you brought this up, Edward. Now, in terms of soft skills, Edward, just to be very frank with everyone, right? This is not just for Edward, but for everyone else out there. For the most part, folks, recruiters and, when recruiters or even hiring managers, right? When they're searching for you on their ATS, or they're searching for you on LinkedIn or Monster or Indeed or whatever, their ATS or whatever it is, for the most part, in the majority of cases, folks, they're not going to be searching for soft skills, right? They're not going to be putting keywords describing your soft skills. It's mostly going to be focused on technical skills. So my advice in regards to this, Edward, is on your resume, definitely put the emphasis on technical skills or industry related keywords. Those are the things you definitely want to emphasize on your resume. But caveat, right? But that does not mean you should neglect your soft skills, because guess what? I'm going to be searching for these keywords related to your skills, expertise, knowledge, industry, technical skills, all that stuff. I'm going to search that stuff. But as I'm reading over your resume, am I going to be paying attention to the soft skills stuff you mentioned on your resume? Yeah, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to that, folks. So soft skills are definitely important. Now, from a keyword search standpoint, Edward, most recruiters are not going to be searching for soft skills related keywords. They're going to be searching for, again, industry, technical, knowledge, expertise, maybe even certifications and stuff like that. Those are the kind of keywords they're going to be using. They're not going to be searching for, I don't know, diligent, courageous, what else? Quick learner. Recruiters are not going to be searching for those terms. But that does not mean it's not important to include those on your resume, because when I see a resume I like, I'm like, okay, yeah, this candidate has a great, they have the right skills for the position. I'm going to read the resume in more detail. And as I'm reading it in more detail, yeah, you want to mention your soft skills and stuff like that, because guess what? My client might say, hey, Dean, we need someone with, such and such technical skills, but we need someone who's optimistic, enthusiastic, who's a go-getter, that kind of stuff. And guess what? If I read that stuff on your resume, if those soft skills are mentioned on your resume, yeah, it's definitely going to capture my attention, because then it's going to be like, okay, they have the technical skills, but they also seem like someone who might be a strong cultural fit for this organization as well. So let me pick up the phone, let me call this person and have a chat with them, right? So yeah, kind of a long-winded response there, Edward, but basically, recruiters are going to be searching for industry, skill set, technical related skills on your resume. They're not going to be searching for soft skills, but soft skills are important, right? That's the short answer, from my end. All right. So thanks for that question, Edward. Hope that helps. We got a question here from Gaurav. Shout out to Gaurav. Good to see you here, Gaurav. Gaurav says, hi, Dean. One question: how to respond when recruiter approaches us when we don't have required experience in the technology they're asking for. Question is, if they have gone through our profile, why still contacted if we don't have that skill set? All right, so good. So this basically what Gaurav is saying is, hey, so if a recruiter reaches out to us, they're asking us about some experience we don't have experience with. Why did they contact us in the first place, right? So what this tells me, Gaurav, is they probably see that you have the core skills that they're looking for in an ideal candidate. And this thing that they're asking you about is probably like not a must-have, but a nice-to-have. Something that makes you, if you are an attractive potential candidate at the moment, having this skill, this technology, from what you're mentioning, it's a technology. Having this technology would make you an even more appealing candidate, basically. So that's why they still reached out to you, is probably because they saw that, yeah, this guy Gaurav looks like he has everything needed. I wonder if he has, XYZ. Let me clarify if he has XYZ. Now, it could be, and again, this could depend on the technology. It could be that, sometimes a lot of candidates, they mention they have certain experience with something, and sometimes they might not experience, this really important technology. And that's why they want to clarify that. So in some cases, yeah, it might be a required technology, Gaurav. But in most cases, usually it's like it's not a must-have. It's like a nice-to-have, or like a bonus thing, right? A bonus skill or skill set. Or it could be, hey, it could be, folks, that it's a rookie recruiter who has no idea what they're talking about. They're new to the business. They don't know what's going on, and they're just reaching out to you, right? I know my friend Nick, tuning in. He always complains about recruiters. They're reaching out to him about Java developer positions, but he's not a Java developer, right? He's into JavaScript. So hey, sometimes it could be a rookie, Gaurav, reaching out, but for the most part, in most cases, folks, it could be that they see that you have most of what they're looking for, and they want to clarify if you have this nice to have skill set, or maybe it's a must have, right? Maybe it's a must have, and unfortunately, if you don't have this skill, they might not consider you for the role. Now, how to respond to how to respond to so the first part of your question, Gaurav, how to respond to when the recruiter approaches us when we don't have the required experience in the technology they're asking for. Well, I kind of covered that earlier on in the session, so feel free to watch the replay of this segment on how to handle that. All right. But for the most part, usually the recruiter is, trying to find out if you have this additional skill or nice to have skill, or again, it could be that it is an actual must have mandatory requirement for the position. All right. So great question there, Gaurav. Looks like there's no more questions, folks. All right. So if anyone has any other questions, let me know in the comments. If not, I'm going to end the session shortly. So again, mark your calendars, folks. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, right here, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I broadcast live and help you folks out with job search tips, advice, strategies, and all that stuff. And hey, before I part, just some parting advice, folks. All right, look, I know as you're going through your job search, right? It's easy to get bogged down in negativity. All right, you scroll through your feed, your LinkedIn feed, you see so many people struggling in their job search. You see so many people, complaining about how the job market is and all that stuff. And yeah, we definitely need to be empathetic about those people and their situations right now, right? But what I want you to do, folks, I want you to surround yourself and as much as possible digest positive information. You need motivation. You need positive information. You need to push through in your job search and keep moving and keep pushing forward, right? My suggestion, folks, don't watch the news, right? The news is always talking about negative stuff for the most part. Stick to positive information right now. Stay motivated. Look at motivational stuff. Listen to music that pumps you up and lifts you up. Listen to music that inspires you, lifts you. Watch an inspirational movie or something like that. Listen. Look at motivational stuff on YouTube, right? Who's that guy? Groggins and Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone. All those positive people you see that can lift up your spirits on YouTube. Look at information like that. Don't avoid negativity, avoid negative people, avoid naysayers. They're going to tell you, oh yeah, it's terrible out there, there's no chance at all. I've been struggling for like a year without work. Hey, we got to be empathetic to people's situations, folks, but you got to be, to a certain degree, you got to be selfish right now, and you got to put yourself in a situation where you're thinking and being positive so you can take out the actions to get employment, get back in the game, get employment, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Then you can worry about everyone else. All right. So my message to you today, folks, stay positive, surround yourself with positive information, be positive, cut out negativity, cut out negative people, cut out naysayers. Stop watching the news for now until you land yourself a job, and keep pushing through, folks. Execution, take action. You're right. Thinking positive, feeling positive. It's only going to do you, to get you to a certain level. All right. You got to take action. You got to take action. You got to execute on your game plan, whatever that game plan is. Take actions, and that's what's going to get you where you want to be. Feeling good, feeling motivated, it's going to give you an edge, but it's not going to get you the results. Action, executing on your plan, executing on your strategy, executing on your game plan, that's what's going to get you where you want to be, folks. All right. So, hey, keep pushing through. Again, stay positive, keep pushing through. Most importantly, folks, take action. All right. So I'm going to be here again next week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, right here. Same bad place, same bad time. And hey, I'll catch you folks later. All right. Have a wonderful end of week, and keep pushing through, folks. Keep pushing through. I'm here to support you. Take care.